Pulse 95. Between local lines, notes from the Emirate.
Notes from the Emirate indeed. A very, very busy Wednesday for the Emirate of Sharjah in terms of events, in terms of gatherings, in terms of getting things back running and celebrating all things Ramadan as well, because we've had the 10th Majlis over at the Ghurfa Khan Amphitheatre, and courtesy of the team at Shera'a, we've also had the Ramadan Majlis for Shera'a this year, and it was an in-person event as well, and it was well attended. And to talk to us about this and how much of a busy evening it was, we've got Zohra Qureshi. She is the partnerships manager at Shera'a, and a very good morning to you.
Good morning. Nice to see you all virtually today.
Virtually today, indeed. Now, Zohra, talk to us about how you're recovering so far, because it was a very late night finish that we understand. A very busy evening indeed.
It was a fantastic evening. We were so thrilled to have it in person. The adrenaline continued all the way through the night. And thank goodness I'm in one piece this morning, so we're all good to go.
Okay, so let's start talking about the big agenda. What was the purpose of this this forum and the discussion that we organised yesterday, and who were the prominent speakers?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 2021 Ramadan Majlis, organised by the Sharjah Entrepreneurship Centre, was in collaboration and partnership with one of our most recent founding partners, Elif Group. And it was dedicated to our community and our community of startups, our SMEs, and leading innovation entrepreneurs in the Sharjah ecosystem. So last night it was all about the community. And we were very honoured to have with us, obviously, Najla Al-Midfa, the CEO of Shera'a, His Excellency Marwan Al-Sarkal, His Excellency Hussein Al-Mahmoudi, and His Excellency Mohammed Al-Musharraf. We're just to name some of the few that were there last night.
And Zohra, what were the top initiatives that Shera'a launched in 2020 to help startups combat the challenges of COVID-19?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year was a very difficult year for us all, and the pandemic forced us to be as agile and as adaptable as our founders, and really rethink the way we supported them. And so we never lost faith in our founders. We knew that they had the ability to be positive and have lasting impact. And so what we had done is we had launched a $1 million solidarity fund to support entrepreneurs that were not only being affected by the pandemic, but were also working on impactful solutions. Obviously, last year kind of triggered a whole new era of thinking and understanding what problems were out there that need to be solved. As Shera'a, as a support ecosystem and an ecosystem builder, we also created the Startup Survival Kit. And that basically offered peer support for founders through knowledge sharing and virtual office hours. So we were accessible even when we weren't there in person. And you know that we didn't really stop there. So we actually launched something called the UCAN Awards, and that was in collaboration with the Ubuntu Love Challenge. And through this award, we were supporting game-changing startups that were making breakthroughs in two tracks last year: food security and healthcare accessibility. And it was really just trying to help create a better world. And very lastly, as we all know, Beirut was impacted by a terrible disaster last year. And so off the back of that, we created the United for Beirut Fund. And basically it supported social entrepreneurs working on rebuilding their city. And so it was a very busy year for us all, and we're extremely proud of our founders and our startups and the people that we supported. And it just goes to show you, no matter what is put in front of us, we can get through it and we can do it together.
So it's about converting these challenges into opportunities. What's the key message that you've given to the startup communities so far in making sure that they implement these tips that you've got for them?
Sorry, I didn't get that last part.
The question is that how did you convert these challenges? How did you encourage and help these startups to convert the challenges faced by the COVID-19 into the opportunities for themselves?
Yeah, so like I said, in 2020, we saw the need for innovation and technology that focus on helping society at large. And that's what we saw made difference in communities. And so after working very closely with our founders over the last 5 years, and especially last year, we've taken the learnings to develop a new blueprint of venture building. And as you may know, we launched our Sharjah Startup Studio earlier this year, which was designed to build businesses that would accelerate the region's digital transformation. As you can imagine, now everything has moved in that direction, digital, regardless if you're an F&B outlet, if you're a delivery company, whatever it may be. That is where the direction that we're moving. And so we work with exceptional founders to build a profitable, high growth business that will solve big problems. And we have some great founders in our current program. What we do is we stress test their ideas. So we co-create this business with them. It's almost like being their co-founder. And we build their initial product and bring it to the best subject matter experts. And the Sharjah Startup Studio is changing the game for the ecosystem. We're creating ventures that are sustainable and solving real problems in our world. And this is only going to continue to develop and change as we go through what we hope to be a post-pandemic world soon.
Yeah, and Shera'a being the guide and the co-creator for the startups to basically embark on their entrepreneurial journey. Can you give us some of the tips that were mentioned last night or given last night by Shera'a for the startups?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great event. It was great to have everybody engage in the conversation and to listen to everybody's challenges and suggestions. And some of the great pieces that came out was invest in services and focus on positive change and lasting impact. Something that His Excellency Marwan said, the money will come, but if you don't have the passion and you don't have the idea, then there's no real point in doing it. So having that passion, having that drive, and focusing on that positive change. Leveraging resources and looking at programs that, that developers and ecosystem builders have put in place like that. And then, very lastly is invest in inclusive and diverse startups. Right now we have an immense pool of female-led tech startups and tech startups that support women in Sharjah and across the UAE.
Certainly is a very, very important key aspect to take back, a passion, develop that for your business and make sure that you continue to hold on to that passion as you progress through those challenges. Zohra Qureshi, thank you very much for joining us this morning. And I'm sure it was a very, very busy evening, so we'll let you recover and get ready for the weekend as well. And thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you and have a lovely weekend, everyone.
You too. Thank you so much, Zohra.
So that was Zohra Qureshi, the Partnerships Manager at Shera'a, speaking to us about the Ramadan Majlis that took place yesterday. A very busy evening indeed. If you'd like to catch this discussion, you can catch it on our podcast page. And we will be right back after a bit of sports headlines here on the Morning Majlis.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis, Pulse 95.
Yes, you can join the conversation at 4215. Welcome back onto the Morning Majlis, and we're talking about the big speech that President Joe Biden just delivered, and it's his first address actually to a joint session of Congress, and it happened America's time. It happened Wednesday night. Our time, it happened a few hours ago. And he pressed his so far popular agenda, which includes a $2 trillion infrastructure plan and a newly unveiled $1.8 trillion plan for families, children, and students. Now, with these proposals, basically, Biden is looking to sustain economic growth following the passage of his massive COVID-19 relief and stimulus plan, and as the country obviously is recovering from the pandemic. He's also pushing for mass vaccinations against COVID-19 as demand slips slightly and cases come down. He has also made the case for a broad green energy initiative as part of his infrastructure and jobs plan in a bid to restructure the economy for years to come. Now, of course, members of his party looked for him to address health care as a priority during the speech, but his recent proposals lack a Medicare expansion and other health care initiatives pushed by several key Democrats. But he did make a push in his speech for increasing Medicare's power to negotiate drug prices. He said they must go down. He also touched on racial justice as the country contends with new instances of police violence against black people, as well as the aftermath of the Derek Chauvin trial, as we all have talked about that. But it was a historic moment, this speech, because this year's scene at the front of the House chamber also, it had a historic look because for the first time, a female vice president, Kamala Harris, was seated behind the chief executive, and she was next to another woman, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Yep, a very important big night indeed, and a couple of big important announcements that he's made. Is he's trying to appeal to the Americans, that he said that a nation in crisis is on the move.
Right.
That's the big theme of his discussion, and he said that focusing on bread and butter issues is something that he talked about, saying that jobs would be created by modernizing roads, bridges and highways, and replacing all of the nation's lead pipes and service lines to ensure that every child can turn on the faucet and be certain to drink clean water. He noted that the plan would make huge investments in broadband to bring high-speed internet access to 35% of rural Americans who still don't have it. All of these investments, he said, would strengthen America's economic power and also ensure that more products were made in the U.S. We're in competition with China and other countries to win the 21st century. There is simply no reason why the blades for wind turbines can't be built in Pittsburgh instead of Beijing. No reason. And he's been quite celebrating the accomplishments of the first 100 days in a strong position.
Definitely. In his first 3 months in office, he has signed this $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief bill, passed without a single GOP vote, and has shepherded direct payments of $1,400 per person to more than 160 million households. Hundreds of billions of dollars in aid will soon arrive for state and local governments. That's enough money that overall U.S. growth this year could eclipse 6%. That is according to the IMF as well. It's a level not seen since 1984. And administration officials are betting that it will be enough to bring back all 8.4 million jobs lost to the pandemic by next year. That is very ambitious, this plan. And also a significant amount proposed just during the speech. It would ensure that eligible families receive at least $250 monthly per child through the year 2025. That's extending the enhanced tax credit that was part of Biden's COVID-19 aid. There would be more than $400 billion for subsidized childcare and also free preschool for all 3- and 4-year-olds as well. And in addition to that, another combined $425 billion would go to permanently reduce health insurance premiums for people who receive coverage through the Affordable Care Act as well, a national paid family and medical leave program. So further spending would be directed toward Pell Grants, historically black and tribal institutions, and to also allow people to attend community college tuition free for 2 years. That's a big point here as well.
Yeah, I think what's the biggest news out of this is there was a lot of talk that what has Joe Biden done? Ever since he's become president, there has been a very limited public appearance by this president. So I think with this address and the way he delivered it and the manner he delivered it really puts those concerns to rest. Let's listen into some parts of his speech that he made at Congress to give us a better understanding and understand the tone that he's been delivering in, because apparently, according to a recent poll, 7 out of 10 Americans who watched this were left optimistic.
But in America, we never, ever, ever stay down. Americans always get up. Today, that's what we're doing. America's rising anew, choosing hope over fear, truth over lies, and light over darkness. After 100 days of rescue and renewal, America is ready for a takeoff, in my view. We're working again, dreaming again, discovering again, and leading the world again. We have shown each other and the world that there's no quit in America, none. 100 days ago, America's house was on fire. We had to act. And thanks to the extraordinary leadership of Speaker Pelosi, Majority Leader Schumer, and the overwhelming support of the American people, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans, we did act. Together we passed the American Rescue Plan, one of the most consequential rescue packages in American history.
So that was President Joe Biden speaking during Congress, and what a fiery speech that received a lot of standing
applause,
ovation.
yeah.
Exactly.
And it comes to no surprise that funding all of these plans, it would be a series of tax increases on the wealthy that would raise, according to Biden, about $1.5 trillion over the next decade.
Exactly. Well, certainly is going to be a key area of focus. But another big story that shouldn't be ignored and highlighted a lot more is the caseload in India. Over 379,000 cases were reported in the last 24 hours. We'll talk to you about what's happening in the country, so do stay tuned to Pulse 95. We're going to be discussing India up next. But before that, just a little bit of Ed Sheeran to keep us in a bit of an optimistic mood as well. This is the Morning Majlis, only on Pulse 95.
Pulse 95. Between local lines. Notes from the Emirate.
Notes from the Emirate indeed. Okay, now guys, we'll do a bit of a weekend wrap up for you in terms of what you can do and celebrate this weekend in the Emirate of Sharjah. Now, I'm going down to the iftar in the desert. Really excited for that. That's going to be in Maliha.
Did you book it?
Yes, I got it booked, and
nice.
and I'm going down. And
How much does it cost, by the way?
$175.
$175?
Yeah,
For one person?
Yeah, for one person. Yeah, it's pricey. But I won the quiz, the other day on Ramadan riddles, and then I'm using that 500 dirhams to celebrate. So we're asking you to do that as well. Celebrate with us. Celebrate everything Ramadan. Text 4215 with the answer to the riddle that we've given to you. A couple of people come back with the responses, and some are very clever answers. So we're inviting that. Okay, let's do a bit of a wrap up. Okay, so first up, in the Emirate of Sharjah, you can obviously go down to Al Jada, wonderful destination, and they've also got some films. So we'll tell you what films are popping up tonight. But before that, we've got the Tales from the East exhibition that is taking place in the Emirate of Sharjah and is running until the 3rd of May.
That's right. Yeah, the 1001 Titles Initiative organized a matchmaking session with 22 publishers, authors, illustrators, and book industry professionals. It actually took place 3 days ago, on the 26th, to explore ways to drive the development of the creative content industry. So it was held at the House of Wisdom, the futuristic social and cultural hub in Sharjah. It's like the place to be at right now. It's so popular, it's insane. And this event explored effective ways to support the book industry in the future and boost the production of quality content. So basically what happened was participants, they shared their creative works and they discussed different topics related to the book industry, including what goes into the author-illustrator-publisher relationship and the role of their collaborative efforts in creating high-quality books. And the session also highlighted the reality of the local and Arab publishing sectors and also the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the book industry, while also discussing ways to encourage investment in this sector.
Yep, of course. And the event that we were talking about earlier to go down to the exhibition to celebrate the weekend was the Tales from the East exhibition that is taking place at the Sharjah Book Authority headquarters. It's running until the 3rd of May. It's got a collection of early written material, including books, pamphlets, and manuscripts, as well as a collection of rare artifacts. And that's running from 8 p.m. until midnight each day. The exhibition allows you to engage with academic experts to gain exceptional insight into the region's rich cultural past. So that's one way of celebrating it. Ramadan night markets in the Emirate of Sharjah. Go down to the Expo Centre Sharjah. Lots of great deals to bank. And we've also got the Al Qasba Canal is lit up with the lighting to celebrate that.
The year of the 50th.
The year of the 50th, and also the Ramadan night markets. Right. They're there to promote it, and lots of entertainment offerings are going to be there. So that could be a cool place to spend your evening in the Emirate of Sharjah. Apart from that, Al Jada is my favorite destination because I love the drive-in cinema.
And it's kind of like the last couple of, hopefully it's the last couple of weeks, but I'm saying it's the last couple of days of soaking in the good weather, the outdoor weather, because it is really heating up, to be honest. So take advantage of this weather. It's still good at night, I believe. It's still tolerable, very tolerable at night. So take advantage of that. Head off to Al Jada Cinema. Tonight's film is actually called Gold, The Dream Begins.
Oh, yes.
It's at 10:40 p.m. in Al Jada.
Oh, that's a film to watch. Shout out Omar Ad-Douri. We always talk about this film because in this movie, Santiago Munez, a young aspiring footballer of Mexican origin, is Los Angeles, and then he gets hired by one of the agents to play for none other than Newcastle United. Him and the other player, Gavin Harris, they drive Newcastle's success, and such a great film to watch. Every dream has a beginning. If you're a football fan, this is the movie that you want to watch. And if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Are you even living? That is the question. Because this is such a great film, and it's at 10:40 p.m. tonight. Done. Booked. I'm going to come back from iftar in the desert, bring some snacks with me, and go down to the Al Jada cinemas to catch the movie. So this is going to be an exciting weekend and a perfect way to celebrate and probably end April. I'd say April's good weather, somewhat of a good weather, because it's going to become a furnace in May, by the way. Well.
And we're a couple of days away from May.
Yeah.
We're fast approaching it, so.
Well,
gotta soak in the good weather. What's left of it?
Yeah, make the most of it this weekend, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for joining us. Once again, a little bit of a reminder of the riddle. It is this.
Riddle me this, riddle me that.
Tread on the living, they make not a mumble. Tread on the dead, they mutter and grumble. What is it? Those people who texted, thank you, because now my mind has worked, and I thought, that's an interesting answer. Pretty sure that's a good answer, guys. Text us and keep those texts coming in, 4215. If you get it right, you'll enter a draw to win 500 dirhams, courtesy of Pulse 95 Radio, as well as Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Once again, a reminder, the quiz question goes: tread on the living, they make not a mumble. Tread on the dead, they mutter and grumble. What is it? So, guys, thank you for tuning in. Texts coming in, 4215. And if you'd like to catch up with the discussions, where can they do that?
Yes, you can catch up with our conversations, the audio ones on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And you can also catch our faces, video conversations on YouTube. Type in Pulse 95 Radio and look for the Morning Majlis playlist. Subscribe, share, and like. Thank you guys for joining us today. I hope from me and Abdul Karim that you guys have a great weekend. But before that, more programs are coming up on Pulse 95 Radio. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Stay only on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse.